The opulent grandeur of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, provided a striking backdrop for a momentous policy shift. President Donald Trump unveiled a bold new direction in U.S. foreign policy. His speech sent shockwaves through the international community. The president announced the lifting of sanctions on Syria. He extended a hand of diplomacy towards Iran. The stakes were undeniably high. The world watched with bated breath. Syria, once a vibrant nation at the crossroads of ancient trade routes, has borne the scars of a brutal civil war for over a decade. The conflict, ignited by the Arab Spring uprisings, plunged the country into chaos and humanitarian catastrophe. The international community, responding to the Assad regime's brutal crackdown on its own people, imposed crippling sanctions. These sanctions, while intended to pressure the Syrian government into ending the violence and pursuing a political solution, exacted a heavy toll on the Syrian people. The Syrian economy, already weakened by years of conflict, was brought to its knees. Basic necessities, including food, medicine, and fuel, became scarce and exorbitantly priced. The sanctions regime, while widely supported, became a point of contention. Critics argued that they disproportionately harmed ordinary Syrians while failing to achieve their intended political objectives. The Assad regime, bolstered by Russian and Iranian support, remained firmly entrenched. Trump's decision to lift sanctions, therefore, represented a significant departure from the policies of his predecessors. It signaled a willingness to prioritize engagement over isolation, even with a regime long accused of atrocities. The move was not without its risks, however, and its success hinged on the Syrian government's willingness to reciprocate with meaningful concessions. The lifting of sanctions, while welcomed by many Syrians desperate for relief, raised a plethora of questions about the future of U.S. involvement in the war-torn nation. Rebuilding Syria, a country shattered by years of relentless conflict, would require a Herculean effort and a massive influx of international aid. The United States, having long positioned itself as a champion of democracy and human rights, faced a moral and strategic dilemma. Engaging with the Assad regime, widely seen as illegitimate and responsible for countless atrocities, carried significant reputational risks. However, ignoring the plight of the Syrian people and the country's desperate need for reconstruction was not a palatable option either. Trump's administration, known for its transactional approach to foreign policy, emphasized the potential economic benefits of re-engaging with Syria. The country, strategically located at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa, held untapped economic potential. Reconstruction efforts, if successful, could create lucrative opportunities for American businesses. The road to peace and stability in Syria remained fraught with challenges. The country's complex web of ethnic and religious divisions, exacerbated by years of conflict, could easily reignite. The presence of foreign powers, including Russia, Iran, and Turkey, further complicated the situation. The Islamic Republic of Iran, a regional power with a long and tumultuous history with the United States, found itself at the center of Trump's diplomatic overtures. The president, while reiterating his commitment to preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, signaled a willingness to re-engage in dialogue. Trump's offer of an olive branch to Tehran marked a stark departure from his previous stance. His administration had withdrawn from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal, and imposed a maximum pressure campaign of sanctions. This policy shift, while welcomed by some as a step towards de-escalation, was met with cautious optimism by others. The Iranian government, wary of American intentions after years of hostility, expressed a willingness to engage in talks but remained skeptical of U.S. sincerity. The potential rewards of rapprochement were undeniable. A thaw in U.S.-Iran relations could pave the way for greater regional stability, facilitating cooperation on issues such as counterterrorism and conflict resolution. However, bridging the deep chasm of mistrust between the two nations would require significant concessions on both sides. Section 5, the Saudi Connection, a pivotal alliance in a shifting landscape. Saudi Arabia, a long-standing U.S. ally and a key player in the region, played a crucial role in shaping Trump's Middle East policy shift. The kingdom, ruled by the ambitious Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, shared Trump's hawkish stance on Iran and his desire to counter Tehran's growing regional influence. Trump, during his visit to Riyadh, showered praise on the Crown Prince, lauding him as a visionary leader and a reliable partner. The two leaders, united by their transactional approach to diplomacy and their shared security concerns, oversaw the signing of a series of lucrative economic and defense agreements. The centerpiece of this burgeoning alliance was a staggering $142 billion arms deal, the largest in U.S. history. This deal, touted by the Trump administration as a boon for the American economy and a testament to the strength of the U.S.-Saudi partnership, drew sharp criticism from human rights groups. Critics argued that the arms sale would further fuel the conflict in Yemen, where a Saudi-led coalition was engaged in a devastating war. The United States, by providing weapons to Saudi Arabia, risked becoming complicit in the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Yemen. Section 6. Echoes of discord. International reactions to Trump's gambit. Trump's Middle East policy shift sparked varied international reactions. Some welcomed it cautiously, others were skeptical. Israel viewed it with alarm. Netanyahu opposed lifting sanctions on Syria. European allies had reservations. Russia welcomed the move. China saw economic opportunities. Section $7 and diplomacy, the allure of economic incentives. Trump, a businessman turned politician, placed a heavy emphasis on economic diplomacy in his Middle East strategy. He argued that fostering economic growth and prosperity would create a more stable and secure region, ultimately benefiting U.S. interests. The president, during his trip to Riyadh, boasted of securing over $600 billion in new investments, touting this figure as a testament to the success of his approach. However, these claims were met with scrutiny, with some experts questioning the accuracy and feasibility of these investment pledges. The lifting of sanctions on Syria, while primarily a political move, was also seen as an attempt to unlock the country's economic potential. Reconstruction efforts, if successful, could create lucrative opportunities for foreign businesses, including American companies. Trump's emphasis on economic incentives, while appealing in theory, faced significant challenges in practice. The Middle East, plagued by conflict, corruption, and a lack of transparency, presented a risky investment environment. Moreover, critics argued that prioritizing economic interests over human rights and democratic values could backfire, fueling resentment and instability. Section 8. Charting a new course. The future of U.S. engagement in the Middle East. Trump's Middle East policy shift, with its emphasis on engagement over isolation and economic incentives over traditional security concerns, represented a significant departure from the policies of his predecessors. The president, true to his unpredictable nature, had once again upended the established order, leaving both allies and adversaries guessing about his ultimate goals. The long-term implications of this policy shift remained unclear. Would Trump's gamble pay off, ushering in a new era of peace and prosperity in the Middle East? Or would it backfire, further destabilizing the region and undermining U.S. interests? The success of Trump's strategy hinged on a number of factors, including the willingness of regional actors to cooperate, the effectiveness of economic incentives, and the ability of the United States to navigate the complex web of competing interests in the region. One thing was certain. The Middle East, a region long accustomed to turmoil and uncertainty, was entering a new chapter. The world watched, with bated breath, eager to see how this latest twist in the region's tumultuous history would unfold. Section 9. A legacy redefined Trump's evolving foreign policy doctrine. Trump's Middle East policy shift, coming in his second term, provided further insight into his evolving foreign policy doctrine. The president, who campaigned on an America First platform, had consistently sought to redefine the United States' role in the world. His approach, characterized by a disdain for multilateralism, a transactional view of diplomacy, and a willingness to challenge long-held norms, had upended the established international order. Allies were left questioning the reliability of U.S. commitments, while adversaries saw an opportunity to exploit perceived American weakness. Trump's Middle East strategy, with its emphasis on bilateral deals, economic incentives, and a willingness to engage with authoritarian regimes, reflected this broader shift in U.S. foreign policy. The president, it seemed, was less interested in promoting democracy or upholding human rights abroad, and more focused on securing concrete benefits for the United States. Whether this approach would ultimately make the world safer or more dangerous remained an open question. What was undeniable was that Trump's presidency had left an indelible mark on the global stage, reshaping the contours of international relations for years to come.